the people who are really in need of having something that helps them, helps their physical problem. I think starting from there is the beginning for most, for everyone. So perhaps for these people who have problems in their back or pains in their body, how can you tell them that yoga is going to help them, in the sense of maybe their idea of yoga is people who are flexible, people who are fit, people who are thin, and you know?
Yes, in fact, you don't need to be flexible or fit to practice yoga. When you start practicing, your fitness level will improve, your flexibility will come. It's important just to give yourself a try. Just go find time, go try a lesson, or even a course, which will be better, so at least there is some systematic approach, and you will be able to learn something that you can practice at home on your own, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Whenever you find time to become quiet and either do a few stretches, practice a few postures, or a little bit of breathing, and that will bring lots of beautiful positive change in the life, I believe.
For sure, for sure. You've mentioned something very important, which is breathing. It is such a basic instinct of the human person, yet we often find ourselves not breathing enough, not consciously filling our lungs with the right air, hopefully, enough in order to sustain our well-being. What does breath and good air and breathing do to the human body?
Breath is vitally important because it's what connects body and mind. We're not talking about just the physical breathing process as such. If you think about it, whenever you get stressed, that, as you mentioned, you either stop breathing or your breath becomes really shallow. But if at that moment you will be able to change your breathing, to get it deeper, to get it slower, then your mind starts relaxing and you come back to being balanced and centered. So by manipulating our breath, we actually can change our mental state, which is a very important tool in daily life. It's not just when you're on your yoga mat and you practice your yoga. It's in every situation. We always have some hard times and difficult tasks. So that's when it's important to remember about your breathing. And obviously you need to learn how to do it in a calm situation first at yoga lesson, and then you will be able to implement it whenever you need.
I find it helps a lot when I have certain pains or I'm going to go through a very sharp pain, particularly. Let's say an instance that just happened very recently, you know, like a little child had a needle stuck in her because of antibiotics, and she's saying, you know, like, it's gonna hurt. It's really gonna hurt when the doctor is going to pull it out. So I find that in moments like that, if one consciously makes an effort to divert the pain in the breathing and release the pain through it, I think it's a way, because sometimes when we're in pain, we just go.
Exactly.
And there's no breathing, right?
Of course.
And that is going to give us more pain.
It's true. That's why when you're on the yoga mat and you practice an asana, which is basically a posture, and say it's a stretch that you feel being quite intense, and you feel some kind of painful sensation, maybe just because your muscles are too tight and you need to release them, you start exhaling longer than you're inhaling. In fact, this is the most simple technique, very, very powerful, but very simple. You just need to breathe out longer than you breathing in. And you can try it even now if you want. Inhale, and when you breathe out, just let go. Whatever it is, it could be physical pain, it could be something emotional stored in your body. Just breathing out and letting go. Whenever you need to come down, that's the most easy thing you could do.
Zoya, if I had to ask you, what was your impression of the Maltese public who came to the yoga, in the sense of why? What were the reasons that drove them?
It's an interesting question, because I found that there were many very different types of people, if we can put people in boxes. Everyone obviously very different, but some people knew about yoga. Some people practiced yoga before, and those people, in fact, were a little bit more difficult to teach for me because they had some kind of impression of how yoga should be. And totally newcomers had very open minds, which were very, very nice to see that actually people able to receive whatever is given. And they just let themselves experience whatever they could at that moment. So, I don't know, I was very pleased that, as you said, word of mouth was passed around so far, because I started with just 2 groups, very, very small groups, just friends and a few friends of friends, and now I have loads of classes every morning, every evening, and I have people on a waiting list sometimes because I can't accept everyone. So yoga is much more popular than it used to be as well, because the word is spreading.
Yes, for sure. And it's also spread because there's something, they're reaping positiveness out of it, for sure. What can you identify as improvements that you've seen in people's lives through yoga? Especially as well in Malta, because of our lifestyle, of our land. Obviously you come from abroad, so you can make certain observations.
I think one can say that he or she is improved if they feel a little bit more happy, a little bit more centered. It's not necessarily something physical. Of course, if you had some physical problems and you feel that it's improved, that's very obvious. But even on subtle levels, when you feel more content with life, when you feel that you can go through some kind of difficult times with less aggression, pain, anxiety, whatever it is, that shows that yoga helped you in some way or the other.
I'm going to come back after the break and ask you questions about your lifestyle, the way you practice yoga, the way you live. You wake up in the morning, how you keep yourself centered, because I think through a personal experience as well, such as yourself, one can at least aspire to achieve that, if that is what they're looking for in life. And like myself, I found myself quite mesmerized when you were saying and talking about your lifestyle. And I like that, and I think I'd like to share it with the viewers as well, even the food, the drinks, the way you make your tea, and we'll hear about all this when we come back. Very fascinating indeed. Zoya Lu here with us this evening. Stay with us. In 2 minutes we'll be right back.